You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, the Joplin City Council approves a number of ordinances ahead of today's election.
Slowly but surely, we're starting to see those clouds part, get a little sunshine, but remember, thunderstorm activity on the way. We're going to break down that timeline from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And veterinarians at a Florida zoo team up with medical and engineering teams to save their great hornbill bird from cancer. They're using special 3D printing technology. We'll have all that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Heartbreaking development from the preliminary findings of the KBI report on last month's officer-involved shooting and standoff in Baxter Springs. Those findings indicate the 2-year-old child in the home died from a shot fired by a responding officer. On March 26th, Eli Crawford barricaded himself inside a travel trailer with his 2-year-old daughter after shooting and killing the child's mother, Taylor Shute. Crawford fired more than 90 rounds at responding officers during a nearly 2.5-hour standoff with police. Joplin SWAT team was called in to assist, and a Joplin officer returned fire toward the home. KBI's preliminary update reveals that shot killed 2-year-old Cleslin Crawford. JPD Chief Sloan Rowland issued a release discussing the situation and said, quote, "This is a horrific outcome to what had already started as a very tragic incident. Our heartfelt condolences go out to the families involved and the surrounding community." As the Joplin Police Department continues to face staffing shortages, the Joplin City Council on Monday approved a proposal aimed at helping to fix that problem. The department has developed a recruitment incentive plan to attract experienced officers to join the force. The plan provides a $10,000 payment to officers from other agencies who sign on with the JPD. One of the requirements is those officers must commit to 2 years with the department. Officials with the JPD say they hope this helps current staff as well.
We're trying to get to full staff so that we can give them that relief, that we can get those shifts fully strengthened so that they can go out there, and the more officers you have, the quicker we can respond to calls, the less time that victim may have to spend waiting on an officer to respond.
Police Department has been dealing with a staffing shortage for months. Also on Monday, the Joplin Council approved a few ordinances, including the annexation of an apartment complex. Residents of Summit Ridge voiced their concerns, saying they were not given enough warning about the annexation plan. City plans to demolish the complex and rebuild it with 60 new homes. That was approved on first reading. Council also approved a work authorization that is Joplin-based Olson for $158,000. Olson will provide engineering services for the city's capital improvements program master plan. Well, today voters in Missouri and Oklahoma get to decide local races and issues. They include a bond proposal for renovation and construction at Joplin's Memorial Hall. Also, school bond issues in many communities and races for area city offices and school boards. We'll have complete election results coming up tonight on the KOAM News at 9 and 10, and of course on the morning show and throughout the evening on KOAMnewsnow.com. Kansas appears unlikely to join other states this year in banning transgender athletes from competing in girls' and women's school sports. That's partly because conservative state lawmakers want the ban to apply to elementary school students. The Republican-controlled legislature approved a proposed ban early Saturday with solid majorities in both chambers. But they do not have the 2/3 majority needed to override an almost certain veto from Democratic Governor Laura Kelly. She rejected a similar bill last year. Several opposing Republicans said having a ban apply as early as kindergarten is a problem. It's official. KU Jayhawks are the NCAA men's basketball champions. In a win for the ages, the Jayhawks overcame a 15-point halftime deficit, the biggest comeback in NCAA championship game history, against the North Carolina Tar Heels to win 72-69 and give this storied franchise their 4th national championship, second for head coach Bill Self. Celebration erupted in the stands as KU fans quickly stormed the court following the Jayhawk victory. Lawrence, Kansas, home of the University of Kansas, watch parties quickly turned into celebration parties. One of those parties took place at the Power and Light District in Kansas City, down the road. All right, Queen Bey is taking the term bling to the next level. Check out the size of this diamond. Beyonce showed off an 80-carat necklace last weekend after the 2022 Academy Awards. She became the first person to ever wear the most expensive Empire diamond necklace from Tiffany & Company. Hey, if anyone's going to wear it. Although the exact price, that was not revealed. 40-year-old award-winning singer wore it at her and Jay-Z's Oscars after party in Los Angeles. Necklace is known as the historic 1939 World's Fair necklace. According to the jeweler, the company modernized the original aquamarine design, but it doesn't stop at a necklace. The diamond can also be worn as a ring. She's going to put a ring on it. The Empire diamond is eclipsed only by the 128.5 carat Tiffany diamond, which is not for sale and is labeled priceless.
Do you have any comments on that story?
I want that.
Do you have any comments on Beyonce wearing it? Because you know the standing rule that we have.
That it should go to me, not her?
Don't be the girl that kicks the Bayhive nest.
No. Hey, and if this diamond can be worn as a necklace or a ring, and if anybody's gonna make it a ring.
And by the way, for anybody that thinks that I just called Tanya a girl, no, that was a play on the girl who kicked the hornet's nest, okay? That's all it was. Tanya and I have learned, you don't disrupt the Bayhive. Anything that Bay does, social media will come and find you.
She
we
is
say
the
yes.
Queen Bay.
We say, you know, all I need in this life is me and my girlfriend. That's right. Hey, do you want to come back and talk KU later?
Yeah.
Because I've got an interesting thing about Christian Brown, not to be confused with Christian Braun, because that would be somebody completely different. Anyway, you and I and our colleges happen to be linked through Christian Brown, who played an amazing game. And as a matter of fact, Tanya, he played all 40 minutes last night.
Wow.
And that, I know.
That's powerhouse.
It's one of those things like in the first half you knew he was out there, and then the second half started and you're like, does anybody want to guard Christian Brown? Because it was like cash making money. And that first 5 to 8 minutes of the second half, that dude could not miss. He was something else. But
it's called owning it.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, just so happens that his mom and his brother have some interesting ties that I'll fill you in a little bit.
Ooh, there's a tease for you.
Yeah. For those of you that may know the last name Sambodi, they are indeed Sambodis. 53 degrees right now over 7th and Rangeline, waiting on the skies and the cloud cover to kind of depart, and they are. We're breaking up slowly. You can tell the heavier cloud cover over here to the east, morning rain pushing off to the northeast as well. We're going to have a great looking afternoon. Every now and then you're going to get a sprinkle. That's all it'll equivocate to. Really don't have anything to worry about as far as severe activity. Temperatures right now, 50s throughout, great looking morning. All the severe weather, and we're going to pay attention to this throughout the course of our afternoon because it is going to be a little bit tumultuous down there in the southeastern portion of the United States. But a 7-day forecast, let's talk about what we've got right here. Because tonight we are going to see, come back to me, tonight we're going to see thunderstorm activity arrive to our northwest. And once it does, sweeps through, say about 6, 7 o'clock it develops, takes us all the way into Thursday morning, but really clearing out, so shouldn't avoid any travel difficulties for Wednesday as well. Tanya?
All right, up next, Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society drops back into the studio and has a special friend, a sweet little kitty who's looking for a forever home. And later, despite improvements to industry self-regulation, unhealthy foods are still being marketed to children. We're going to take a look at what's being done. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
One perk of the pandemic that could be here to stay, and another possible benefit of breast milk. Bradley Blackburn with some of today's top health stories.
Newly identified protein biomarkers found in breast milk and blood serum could one day be used for cancer screening in women of any age. A small study in experimental biology looked at proteins in the breast milk of 3 women diagnosed with breast cancer and 3 without. Researchers found those proteins showing differences were previously linked to cancer or tumor development. A report from the University of Connecticut found the marketing of unhealthy food is still targeting kids, despite improvements to industry self-regulation. More than 1/3 of food products marketed to kids do not qualify as healthy. The authors are calling for regulators to tighten loopholes and keep kids healthy. Telehealth may have a permanent place in treating mental health. Researchers from Oregon Health and Science University found while in-person mental health visits dropped by almost 22% early in the pandemic, they quickly rebounded, and nearly half transitioned to telehealth by the end of 2020. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
For you Coca-Cola lovers, new flavor might sound a little weird, granted. It's dubbed Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Bite. It's supposed to taste like pixels. Now, I'm not making this up. This is actually what the company's telling. The company says it makes the intangible taste of a pixel tangible. I'm just going to let it sit. I'm not even going to finish the script. I'm just going to let you try to wrap your head around that one. So if you want the blue pill, or if you want the red pill, or if you want Coca-Cola Bite, evidently with zero sugar, there you have it. That's all I got for you on that one. We thought it was bad when they came out with the clear Coke, and then everybody threw a fit about that. For those of you who may be old enough, go back to the 80s when they brought out the new formula. But now, no, you can have a pixel. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News. Special guests, actually we've got two special guests in our studio. One is a great friend of the show, Jasmine Kyle from the SUK Humane Society. The other simply goes by the name of Lilac, and when you see her, you're going to fall in love with her. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Again, we have Jasmine Kyle joining us from the SUK Humane Society here with Lilac.
Yeah, good morning.
The sweetest little 4-month-old kitty.
She's so sweet. So yeah, this is Lilac. She is just 4 months of age. She has a few siblings at our shelter, but we decided to bring her on today just because we are getting into the baby season. We've got lots of kittens coming in, but more than kittens, we got puppies in particular, which usually it's the opposite. So with Lilac and with kittens in particular, we're starting to get calls from the public on what to do. You know, hey, I found a litter of kittens outside of my house with mom. Can I take them, right? Mom knows best, right? We never ever recommend to separate mom from kittens, especially under 8 weeks of age. Those first 2 months, they need that milk. There is milk replacement, don't get me wrong, but there is nothing that beats those vitamins and nutritions and antibiotics that mom has within her own milk. So if you have healthy mom and babies outside of your house, like in the backyard or in your barn unit, please let them be. I know that's super hard, but mom is doing what mom needs to do. I'll always give 2 caveats, of course. If for some reason that they are in an unsafe location, move them in small increments at a time, or if you don't find mom with kittens but may think that mom's still around, if kittens look really healthy, we use the flour method. Get some flour from your kitchen pantry, put a big old circle around those kittens, and then come back within 4 to 6 hours, and you will see mama's footprints. I guarantee it. Now, if you don't, let's say after a day, then you can go in if kittens, of course, are not safe. And then, of course, my second caveat, of course, is if mom or those babies are sick. If they look really, really thin, if weepy eyes, then yeah, absolutely go in and we'll take care of that situation. But that's a hard thing with baby season coming up, and especially with kittens in particular. That's so hard on a mom when they all of a sudden go missing. So please do your part. Be responsible, and of course you can absolutely support them by providing food and water and shelter, and when they get past that 2-month age mark, you know, you can start to see if you can work with human interaction with the mom and the kids. But take your time, don't rush it.
That's right. Those the kittens are going to take to you a lot quicker than the mother. That's for sure.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing, because dogs and cats, for the most part, they don't know the human language. So mom's doing her part, right? She sees a complete stranger 10, 20 times her size coming in. She's going to take the back route and hide to make sure she can continue feeding. And that's what a lot of the public will see is, oh, you know, kittens have been abandoned. Mom's out hunting for them, out providing. She has to eat to produce that milk. So use that flour method. Be patient and watch. That is the best thing. And of course, after a period of time, if you have not seen mom, then yes, absolutely go in and act. You can take that, but be patient, be kind.
Let's talk about the kittens that you guys have at the shelter.
Yeah.
How old are they when they become adoptable?
Yeah, so our adoptability starts around 3 months of age. Kittens and puppies, for the most part, they are spayed and neutered a little after 2 months of age, just to get the kids done. But we do offer foster to adopt. So with foster to adopt, we have a litter of puppies that recently just came in, 7 of them.
Oh, wow.
Bernedoodle mixes, cute as can be, and they're only 1 month of age. Now, with our foster to adopts, they can actually go into their homes right now. So they would actually get the opportunity to grow up with the family. So when they
we have a photo of the Bernedoodles.
Yeah, absolutely. So when they hit around, there they are. Oh my gosh, they are just a little cuddle puddle, 6 boys, 1 girl, and all 7 of these kids are available for foster or foster to adopt. So again, with foster to adopt, let's say that I myself submitted a foster application and I can go pick up Puppy tomorrow. So Puppy grows up into my household, and when 2 months reach around, we touch base again and we get kids spayed and neutered, and then another month passes by, and at 3 months of age, we bring everybody out for a picture, adoption paperwork is finalized, and you are all set to go. So there are benefits too of fostering to adopt, because especially with puppies and kittens, you know, wanting somebody to grow up within the family, look to your shelters right now, because I'll tell you what, it's going to be a wild, crazy puppy season in particular. We are seeing some very large litter numbers. So if you've been wanting to work on responsibility with your kids, you can always say it can be foster or foster to adopt with us. That's absolutely fine. And then when 3 months, that timeline hits around, we can always touch base, and if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Don't ever feel bad about that, because what you are giving these kids is the needed socialization with them working with kids, with seeing a TV come on and hearing a dishwasher go off and getting them adoptability, and their rates improving after that point. And of course the pictures. I can't tell you enough of how big a foster picture will change a whole animal story from one of our shelters.
Sure.
We had Lucy Goosey, who was with us. Our longest tenant was out there for over 4 years at our shelter, and this foster and this professional photography company worked miracles with her. She was able to go out and be on a green screen and work with kids, and it just blew up, and it put her in a new limelight of adoptability. A dog that couldn't be around other animals now had doors open for her. So don't ever feel bad if it doesn't work out. You have provided them with so many secret opportunities that you don't realize.
All right, well, Lilac is ready for adoption. Let's quickly talk about your hours, then we have to go to break.
Yeah, so we're currently open to the public on the weekends right now, but if you fill out an adoption application or foster application online, we can get you scheduled for any day of the week. Now, we are working, actually have a big staff meeting today, but we may be working on bringing more open days back. Things are looking better. Normalcy is hinting at us.
Yay!
So here in the next month or so, we may have a very big announcement to the public.
That'll be awesome.
We hope so. We
All
hope
right,
so.
hopefully we can get Lilac a new home very soon.
Yeah.
And those Bernedoodle puppies as well.
Oh, they're so cute.
All right, thank you so much for coming in
Thank
again. We
you.
always love having you. We'll be right back. It's time to honor today's 4-state hero, Dakota Jensen. Lance Corporal Jensen served in the Marines. He served in Iraq until March of 2008. His hometown, Carl Junction, Missouri. We thank you. Today's 4-state hero, Dakota Jensen. Well, commercial and recreational use of 3D printers is rising in popularity, but 3D printing technology in the medical field is also gaining traction as veterinarians at a Florida zoo team up with engineers and use a 3D printer to save the life of a rare bird. Jackie Benez has a look.
This is Crescent, a great hornbill bird getting a new lease on life thanks to 3D printing technology. Staff at Zoo Tampa in Florida noticed Crescent was developing skin cancer on a portion of her beak called the casque and sprung into action.
When this is diagnosed in hornbills, it is unfortunately a death sentence. It will eat away at their beak.
Veterinarian Kendra Baker discovered crews in Singapore used a 3D printer to replace the beak of a great hornbill overseas and reached out to biomedical engineers in the U.S. for help, getting Massachusetts-based 3D printing company Form Labs to design a new piece of beak and a template for surgeons to use during the operation.
They were able to create this 3D surgical guide and it fits right over the edge here. And so what that does is it's essentially a stencil.
The 3D printed pieces needed to be 100% accurate. The section of Crescent's beak containing the cancer also housed her sinuses, setting the stage for a complex and delicate procedure.
It has little screw holes here, and we attached it to her cask just like that. And we put dental acrylic to seal the edges, and then we screwed everything into place.
Thankfully, everything fit like a glove, and Zoo Tampa says Crescent is quickly bouncing back to health.
So cool. While 3D printing helps save Crescent, the technology is also being used to create prosthetic limbs for humans, as scientists even explore the possibility of using cells to print vital organs in the future. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Heartbreaking development on Monday from the preliminary findings of the KBI report on last month's officer-involved shooting and standoff in Baxter Springs. Those findings indicate the 2-year-old child in the home died from a shot fired by a responding officer. KOAM's Chris Warner has been following this story and has more.
The latest information from the KBI details what Joplin Police Chief Sloan Rowland calls a horrific outcome. On March 26th, Eli Crawford barricaded himself inside a travel trailer with his 2-year-old daughter after shooting and killing the child's mother, Taylor Schutt. Crawford fired more than 90 rounds at responding officers during a nearly 2.5-hour standoff with police. The Joplin SWAT team was called in to assist, and a Joplin officer returned fire toward the home. The KBI's preliminary report revealed that shot killed 2-year-old Cleslin Crawford. JPD Chief Sloan Rowland issued a release discussing the situation and saying, quote, "This is a horrific outcome to what had already started as a very tragic incident. Our heartfelt condolences go out to the families involved and the surrounding community. We ask that you pray for the victims and everyone involved." Now, that officer is on paid administrative leave per department policy. Chief Rowland added that a separate internal investigation is ongoing. The KBI also stated that it believes Eli Crawford died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The KBI says its investigation is ongoing, and once concluded, the findings will be presented to the Cherokee County Attorney to determine if criminal charges will be filed. We again want to reiterate the KBI's findings are preliminary at this time. In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
You can see the full release from the KBI on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. As the Joplin Police Department continues to face staffing shortages, the Joplin City Council on Monday approved a proposal aimed at helping to fix that problem. The department has developed a recruitment incentive plan to attract experienced officers to join the force. The plan provides a $10,000 payment to officers from other agencies who sign on with the JPD. One of the requirements is those officers must commit to 2 years with the department. Officials with the JPD say they hope this helps current staff as well.
We're trying to get to full staff so that we can give them that relief, that we can get those shifts fully strengthened so that they can go out there, and the more officers you have, the quicker we can respond to calls, the less time that victim may have to spend waiting on an officer to respond.
Police department has been dealing with a staffing shortage for months. Well, 5-year-old girl from Arma, Kansas is showing her appreciation for law enforcement. Sophia Rakestraw is competing in the Baby Miss America pageant. Part of the pageant is serving a cause. Sophia and her family have chosen to back the blue, so they're going around and delivering cookies to local law enforcement, showing their appreciation for their service.
I think if you ask the officers, it's been a pretty positive impact. This is our first time doing it so far with the Baby Miss America pageant. It's one of the, they want all the little girls and boys in the Baby Miss America to bring that awareness to them, because it's not happening anywhere right now.
Sophia was chosen out of 750 girls to represent the state of Kansas for this pageant. The Franklin Technology Center is recognizing the outstanding work of one of its seniors. Leighton Coates is an automotive technology student, and he's being honored as the program's Outstanding Student of the Year. Officials say he not only passed his automotive service excellence certifications, but he also passed his certifications for the Ford ACE program. which not many students do. In fact, Layton is the first student to complete all 65 college-level automotive courses offered at Franklin Tech.
Just gives me, if something doesn't work out, it gives me another thing to do. It just gives me a place to go if something doesn't work out.
Layton's teachers also say he's served as a great role model for other students during his time at Franklin Tech. Well, players, coaches, and managers throughout Major League Baseball will continue the annual tradition of donning Jackie Robinson's iconic number 42 on April 15th. But there will be an added twist for this year's 75th anniversary. All 42s will be colored Dodger blue, regardless of the team's primary colors. Los Angeles Dodgers, organization for which Robinson carved out his entire trailblazing career, will be at home against the Cincinnati Reds on April 15th, a day that will mark 75 years since Robinson broke the color barrier in his debut with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Little more than 3 months later, on July 19th, Dodger Stadium will host the All-Star Game, and the Robinson-related tributes will continue for a different reason. His widow, Rachel, turns 100 that day.
And Michael's going to go off because it's a baseball-related story. So MLB has put out this video with Rachel as like the driving influence about the ways that she was like, Jackie, this is important, you have to do this, because there were times where he certainly had apprehension. The fact that everybody's going to wear 42 in Dodger blue, the Reds are going to wear their uniforms from 1934, which actually had blue numbers on them.
Aww.
It's going to be so cool. Even the umpires are going to sport the number 42. So, as an aside, because we've talked about Buck O'Neil before, right? And remember, Jackie Robinson played in Kansas City. He played for the Kansas City Monarchs. Like, it's in our backyard, folks, and it's so cool. I'm sorry, I'm a baseball geek. God bless Mariano Rivera, but nobody else is ever going to wear 42 again. Like, Mariano was the last active player to wear 42. Nobody's going to wear that number again, and I think it's just so perfect. It's so perfect in a time where I'm so jaded against baseball.
It'll be a good day, though.
Yes, and I thank Tanya, thank you for letting me be effusive right there, because I love that story. I think that's so neat. Live look outside of Television City. We're starting to see a little break in our blue sky, which is very important because, remember, we're trying to keep you updated on our tower project. Folks, 500 feet up in the air is what that crew does each and every day as they continue to work upon that. And now that they get a little break, especially for today, we'll keep you updated with that progress. What a beautiful sight at 7th and Rangeline as we see the clouds just beginning to part a little bit. Very comfortable temperatures, 53 degrees. Oh my goodness, I tell you what, we are bustling down there right now. All our rain has departed out to the northeast. We're getting our break in our cloud cover. We're really in store for a great looking afternoon as our temperatures right now range 51 in Miami, 55 in Chanute, 53 in Nevada. So really light jacket maybe. By the time we get to the afternoon, it's going to be short sleeve weather. All the severe weather is going to stay down to the deep southeast. We will keep our eyes on that because they are in an elevated concern throughout portions of not only Arkansas, but also Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. For us, sunshine before thunderstorms arrive. That panel right there on 7 p.m. That's when they begin to develop up to the northwest as it does roll through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We'll see some bouts of some heavy rain with that. Thunder and lightning associated with it as well. As it moves through, majority of the rain falling throughout southwest Missouri. Spared if you're on the far west, far southwest, but even if you're south of I-44, you're certainly going to have rain overnight. Clear that out and get ready for some cooler temperatures as we'll be down to the 60s on Wednesday, 50s on Thursday and Friday, but a great looking 4-state weekend. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. This morning on the KOAM News Now Instapoll and our Something to Talk About, board games, trivia games, whatever kind of game you like to play. The story being that station right there. It's a college radio station in Wisconsin, and they've been doing a trivia game for 54 years. And it's pretty amazing. You know, you get a college station like that and you get so dedicated to it. And the fact that you've got people lined up outside just to take part in it. But our question for you specifically, what's your favorite type of game? Right now, 47% of you chiming in saying, yeah, you like card games. Can't beat that. 29%, or 26% now, going with video games. So I thought that was pretty interesting how that came in above everybody else. We still have not figured out where to place dominoes in any one of our categories. All right, I know that for those of you that watch this show, about my age, maybe a little bit younger, right? But we all know Prince, icon. Question being, you ever seen Prince as a child? I probably never even thought about it. Well, okay, so there's a CBS station in Minneapolis. They're doing some research. They were working on a story, a serious story, about a teacher strike that went on decades ago. Well, as they were combing through their video, trying to put together this archival video, they stumbled across this kid who was going to school. I'll let Jeff Wagner explain it.
Which side are you on? On a film reel of a teacher strike more than 50 years ago, an interview with one student immediately stood out.
Are most of the kids in favor of the picketing?
Yep.
How come?
I think they should get a better education too, and I think they should get some more money, cause they be working extra hours for us and all that stuff.
The first thing I thought was, I can't believe that's him.
WCCO production manager Matt Liddy made the discovery.
I immediately just went out to the newsroom and started showing people and saying, I'm not going to tell you who I think this is, but who do you think this is? And every single person, Prince.
Yes, that Prince, Prince Rogers Nelson, the Minneapolis-born and bred global superstar, but there was one catch.
We did not get him saying, I'm Prince Nelson.
So we set out to get some confirmation.
There's not a ton of images of Prince as a kid.
We asked historian Kristen Schamler, who's extensively researched and written about the purple one, to take a look at the footage. And, well...
Oh, I think that's him, definitely. Oh my gosh. And this definitely looks like Lincoln Junior High School, where he would have been attending school in April of 1970.
We also compared it to a photo of Prince when he was believed to be in the 6th grade. Despite the evidence, we still needed someone who knew Prince as a kid to confirm.
We go back as far as kindergarten at John Hale Elementary in North Minneapolis.
That someone was Terrence Jackson, a childhood friend and neighbor who played in Prince's first band, Grand Central, when they were teenagers.
That is Prince. Standing right through the head-on, right?
Yeah, keep watching, keep watching.
That's Skipper! Oh my gosh! That's him. Wow, that was him.
What do you,
I'm like blown away and I'm totally blown away. Mark my words, you guys have found a real gem.
As far as we can tell, this video of an 11-year-old Prince is among the oldest we can find outside of Prince's personal archives. And I think our production manager put it best. I don't know why it's cool, but it is. Jeff Wagner, CBS News, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
That was not lost on me nor Ron, the fact that Scott Wagner did that story and appropriately did it with a purple tie. I thought that was pretty cool there at the end. Of course, Prince continued to live a life in Minnesota, and then found dead at his home in a studio complex in 2016. A coroner's report stated Prince died as the result of an accidental overdose of fentanyl. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Shortages are plaguing grocery stores, and now the latest victims appear to be cat food and canned beer. There's a reason. Aluminum, right now, short in supply. A look at what's behind this latest commodity challenge and how companies are taking action to combat the supply issue.
Aluminum is in short supply, and that's leading to shortages in both the cat food aisle and at your local brewery.
We are actually having aluminum demand spikes within the United States and around the world.
Say Ken Allschool, assistant professor of supply chain management from the University of South Florida, says we can blame labor shortages, the pandemic, and the ongoing supply chain crisis. Production isn't meeting up with demand, and China's pollution crackdown is driving aluminum manufacturing even further.
Basically, decrease the production by approximately 10 to 20% worldwide.
Allschool says pet adoptions soared during the pandemic and are still strong, raising that demand for cat food. And as some retailers take measures to eliminate aluminum packaging, aluminum isn't the only problem cat food sellers are dealing with.
We don't have enough meat products that go into that cat food. And the main reason really for this is our workforce.
The aluminum shortage and price increases are also having a major impact on small breweries across the country. Demand for aluminum can products skyrocketed during the pandemic as alcohol consumption rose and breweries shifted to to-go models.
Pretty much everything has gotten more expensive, most notably our packaging. So the aluminum cans and lids and everything, really everything we use connected to the canning of the product.
Experts predict it's an issue that may linger for several more months into 2023. We'll be right back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's a look at your stock prices before the opening bell. According to the USDA, about 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat exists because of pollinators like bees. Austin Wetfall is in North Carolina, where a company is bringing large bee colonies into the city.
There's 2 boxes of bees behind me, and inside of them is about 100,000 bees total. Might be hard to tell from where I'm standing, but they are located right in the middle of a large industrial center in Charlotte.
We have become reliant on honeybees specifically for our modern food production.
Eric Walgren is a beekeeper for Bee Downtown, a company dedicated to installing sustainable bee colonies in places you might not otherwise see them.
They're starting to build combs.
Hardy honeybee populations aren't as common in some areas because of humans.
All the native bees are having a tough time due to development of land and pesticides. She's just landed on me. I'm a tree or a part of her surrounding.
We joined as the beekeepers cracked open a hive to check the colony's health and to see if there's a queen bee. A queen helps indicate a healthy hive, and it didn't take long to find one. She's about twice the size of the other bees, and it might look like she's being swarmed by her hive mates.
They're cleaning her, grooming her.
At peak season, Bee Downtown has about 500 hives spread across North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Florida, and Washington, D.C., with more expansion expected soon. Most are on business campuses or downtown buildings.
We are helping the honeybees because we are keeping really strong, really healthy beehives in cities.
There's a lot of new companies out there.
The folks at Bee Downtown aren't the only ones doing this. The American Beekeeping Federation says many companies are installing hives in urban areas around the nation, from LA to New York, because the bees help sustain trees, greenhouses, and gardens in densely populated areas.
This tree right behind us here, this red bud, the bees are pollinating that, and it's improving the local environment.
You might be asking, well, is it safe to have 100,000 bees next to large populations of people? The beekeepers at Bee Downtown say, yes, it is incredibly safe. A lot of the bees, as they were taken out, they were very calm. If there are any hives that are not calm, they are replaced. In Charlotte, Austin Westfall, Fox News.
We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 and a tower update from our Chief Engineer Bill Vickery right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will address the UN Security Council for the first time today. His remarks come amid evidence of civilian deaths in northern Ukrainian towns seized back from Russian forces. President Biden has called for a war crimes trial against Russian President Vladimir Putin. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is inching closer to becoming the first black female Supreme Court justice. Republican Senators Lisa Murkowski and Mitt Romney said they will vote to confirm the historic nomination, along with Maine's Susan Collins. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said a final confirmation vote will happen later this week. And the city of Sacramento held a vigil to honor the victims of Sunday's mass shooting. At least 6 people were killed and a dozen injured when gunfire broke as bars were closing downtown. Police have arrested 26-year-old Andre Martin in connection to the incident and are searching for other shooters. Let's check in with Michael.
Yeah, Tanya just checked in with Bill Vickery, and that tower work's going to continue today because the skies clear off here at Television City, and all that rain moves out to our northeast. Now remember, we've got thunderstorm activity developing tonight, say 6, 7 o'clock, lasting us all the way into Wednesday morning, but should not hamper your Wednesday travel concerns.
All right, we got time for the porcupine. Rico, the Brazilian porcupine, celebrated his 6th birthday at the Cincinnati Zoo on Saturday. Celebrate, the zoo threw him a picnic with some of his favorite snacks and friends, including an anteater and some armadillos. Okay, Brazilian porcupines spend most of their time in tree canopies.
Did not see that one coming.
Rico, happy birthday.
Hey, growing up in Texas, you take every advantage you can if there's one less armadillo. Thank you for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.